Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is the Plucky Squire. This is a game published by Devolver Digital, known for publishing the hit game Hotline Miami. The Plucky Squire is another indie game for them to publish and is developed by All Possible Futures, with a storybook aesthetic. So with that in mind, let's get into the gameplay and see what lies in store. The gameplay of the Plucky Squire falls into the genre of action-adventure. There are enemies to best, puzzles to solve, and even platforming, among other things. The standout feature of the game is the transition from storybook 2D gameplay to 3D world gameplay outside of the book. Using this feature of jumping between the storybook world and the outside world, the game makes you think outside the box, or in this case, the book. Puzzles will sometimes require you to jump between worlds, and there are full segments of the game that take place in one or the other. Throughout it all, however, you'll face many mini challenges on your way to completion of the game as well. These mini challenges shake up the normal gameplay with new scenarios such as flying with a jetpack, which may seem out of place at first glance of the game. And why is that? Well, because of the character you play, of course, so let's get into the story to explain. The Plucky Squire has you play as Jot, the hero of the story. He is a swordsman with a fountain pen sword and a sense of justice. When going through the story initially, even being narrated, you'll soon come across Humgrump, the villain of the story. Humgrump sends Jot flying out of the pages of the storybook in an attempt to change the story. And from there, it is up to Jot to resolve things and bring the story to a proper conclusion. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat? If there's anything about this game that's going to really draw people in, because it's just very eye-catching, is the visual design of the fact that you switch between 2D inside the storybook, then pop out and be in 3D in the whole room. What do you think about that, Chris? Am I right in saying that that's like the standout feature?
Oh, 110%, Henrik, because if I were the developers of the Plucky Squire, I would be frantically filling out patents faster than a toad with the 1-up, just to make sure that Nintendo doesn't Mario jump on our mechanics, right? When it comes to the Plucky Squire, and turn it into like a Paper Mario Odyssey crossover of our wildest dreams. I mean, Henrik, could you imagine a Bowser in 3D and 2D at the same time? That would be madness. Oh wait, that's what Pokemon and the Nintendo company are trying to do with Power World. So like, if you want to control game mechanics, super lame. But what they got going on with this game is the game mechanics, jumping from the 2D to the 3D space. I thought they did an excellent job.
No, yeah, definitely. It is 100% the standout feature. It's the thing that drew both you and I'm pretty sure, to playing this game and covering it, because you take one look at this and you see how much care actually went into just creating the aesthetic of this. And sure, it is aimed towards a younger audience, but that doesn't mean necessarily that only the younger audience can enjoy it. I mean, I enjoyed it. I'm sure you enjoyed it as well,
Oh,
Chris. Am I wrong?
No, it felt like the nostalgia was definitely very real. I mean, Jot, our silent protagonist, being voiced by somebody that's going to do like a documentary for the Animal Planet, it was just fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
He
does a great job.
Doesn't he? I mean, you become the hero of a children's book who leaps from his once safe 2D world into a wild 3D adventure, and you're going straight into the bedroom of Sam, his #1 super fan, and it's really cool. I mean, you start to see like almost like Sam's room becomes a shrine to the Plucky Squire series, with like shelves bursting with every edition of Jot's stories and walls plastered with posters of his adventures. And the puzzle design, how did you feel about that? I thought they did a really beautiful job, interweaving it through the jungles, the beaches, the villages, even the mountaintops. I don't know how you felt. I got stuck at the heavy metal land, which I was very excited for, being that hard rock heavy metal fan of music just in general. So like, it was everything about it. The magic was real.
Yeah, no, the puzzles, they're not necessarily incredibly hard, not like the Witness level of hard,
right?
But that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you're looking for the Witness level of challenge, this isn't going to be the game for you. But it's not really trying to be that at the same time. It's just trying to be a fun experience. I'd say even the second time through, it'd be a fun experience for most people. And a lot of that has to also do with the fact that you don't just take place in the story in a fantasy land. Like you were saying, to go to like a heavy metal inspired sort of aesthetic at one point too. And
Right.
that's just a little glimpse of the all sorts of diversity of environments you go through in the entire game.
Oh, it's so true. But I feel like the real magic with this game is how Jot can literally mess with the book's text and rewrite his
Yeah,
reality to
yeah,
get
yeah,
past
yeah.
obstacles. I mean, you can have like a stone block in your way. Just change the story with the text. Or who like knew that just cheating in life was the best part of the game? You know what I'm saying? Like it was. There's a lot of really, really clever
Yeah, and
elements
and
throughout
and
the game.
there's times too in even those puzzles where like, yeah, you have to get a word, but it's like, okay, well, where are we gonna get the word? It's not on the page. I have
Yeah,
to pop out of the book, flip the pages around,
yeah.
grab what I need, then go back and put it where I need it to be.
It's
Yeah,
very.
it makes you think more than just what you're looking at. Like, in kind of the same way that like a game that makes you backtrack does, but you're not necessarily backtracking in this game at the same time.
Oh, it's very, very clever. I mean, there's a few puzzles out there that got me kind of frustrated at times, but like that was the beauty about it because like once you rewrite the rules,
Mhm.
basically like changing a river from water to ice, like you're like the world's laziest ice sculptor just to get to an obstacle that's like I can't swim for some reason. Jot can't swim, so you're gonna need some ice, or maybe there's a gate that needs to be broken down, turn it, or maybe you need to get a wooden box to turn it into metal to smash through something. There's a lot of different creative elements through the wordplay, like the word salad throughout the book, that you can
Yeah.
just grab a word from a previous page, bring it to the new page that you're trying to flip to the next chapter per se. It's very, very creative. I just love this whole like next chapter like plot twisting, genius element that I got going on throughout this game.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I'm seeing from you that this is most likely a repeat for you. Am I right about that?
Oh, it definitely feels like it. I mean, especially, just to even, we were talking a lot about like even the 2D elements, but even think about
Mhm.
Jot's out of this world 3D world. I mean, it's
Oh
quite the
yeah,
power trip.
yeah.
I mean, you can casually drop bombs, you could stop time, but even the fact that you could drop
You
bombs
got to
in a
dodge
children's book,
bugs.
like, I mean, just the fact that you're dropping bombs in a children's book is kind of funny. I don't know if you
Yeah,
noticed that. I thought that was a bit
yeah.
much, but like, you also kind of get a little glimpse of how Sam is growing up. I won't spoil some of the evil elements that come your way towards, let's say, Act 3, but you start to realize that maybe Sam's collection starting to dwindle away from the Plucky Squire and into this
Mm,
grown up phase. I won't
yeah,
say any
yeah.
more, but you kind of get the idea when you start to play the storyline. But just, again, it's a beautiful game. I am definitely going to say it's a repeat. I think you're going to want to play it with your loved ones. But I do think if they do decide to follow up with, let's say, a second one, Henrik,
Hmm.
I would like to see a co-op and a little bit more teamwork with the characters because they
Okay.
really are throwing words at you, especially they want you to read the story quite a bit, right? I mean, there's a lot of
Yeah.
dialogue throughout the game. I just felt like they didn't utilize the characters enough along the journey, like Thrash and Violet or even Moonbeard. So it'd be kind of cool to get that like two-player experience. But hey, it's still an excellent game, and there's so much more wiggle room. And I don't know if you had a blast picking up the scrolls throughout the game, just kind of
Oh
getting a
yeah.
glimpse of
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
behind
yeah.
the scenes of how they made the game happen. Such a freaking cool feature. It's a repeat for me. How about you, Henrik?
It's a repeat for me also, and I do think I can agree on the whole idea of if they make a sequel, add a co-op mode. Even if you want to go as far as making it like it takes two kind of co-op mode where you really have to have a second person to help you out with some certain parts of the game,
Yeah.
because that could be really cool. You add all the elements of the puzzles that you had in this, and then now you have the element of having to rely on another person to help you out also. Could be a different mode, maybe, because I'm not sure if that would be a great idea to go from a game that was single player to a game that requires a co-op player to
But they
complete
got
it.
like
But
the
they
thing
could
that
do that.
the thing that we haven't even mentioned either was how awesome the mini games were throughout the story as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Whether
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
They get
fighting like a
really
boss or not.
creative.
Like, I mean, there's one moment even in your just hyping up in your excellent video for Pause to Repeat. There's a moment that you see where you're looking like you're battling a Yu-Gi-Oh player, and
Yeah,
there's all
the
these little
Magic the
mini.
Gathering card. Yeah,
Exactly.
I
So there's
thought
all
that
these.
was really creative. You're right.
Right, and then there's one point you're doing like a bubble blaster kind of a style mini game. Then there's like one moment where you're like doing the old school Mike Tyson boxing
Against
game
a
throughout.
honey badger. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I would encourage that even more in the game. And then if you can add like a 2-player experiment with all of that, bringing back all that old school nostalgia video game elements to this video game, they got something special going on that I
Oh
don't
no,
think anybody
definitely.
else is doing. So yeah,
Well, I
it's an
can
excellent
think
game.
the only other game that I can think of that we covered that did like the kind of mini game thing where like every level has like a different gimmick to it was that Princess Peach Showtime game.
True, that's a good point.
But this is also a different game than that. You know,
Big time.
it's not the same. You know.
Right, right.
So
So I mean, that's why I made that joke. It's like, if like we're about to be jumping right into patch notes right now when it comes to this whole patent war thing. Plucky Squire, what are you waiting for?
yeah.
Control every element of your game, or not, because that's kind of lame.